I am going to be talking about the 6 key factors that truly creates and secures true self-confidence. From my own perspective, of course, because everyone has their own awareness, their own consciousness, their own ways of perceiving, and this is coming from my own level of awareness in regards to what it means to truly have true self-confidence, right? And these 6 key factors isn't in any particular order, but I'm going to be going through them. Whichever one comes to mind first, I'm just gonna go with that one, right? I wrote these 6 key factors down on my phone, right? I have 2 phones, my other phone. So if I look at my phone, that's what I'm doing, right? I write them down so I don't actually miss anyone, right? I've got them here, right? I don't really make notes. I just make like key points. That's what I do, key points. So I have some key points here, and those are the 6 key factors, right? Let's talk about self-confidence, right? Self-confidence is important in this human experience. You have to be secure in who you are. You have to stand for something. You have to know who you are fundamentally, because if you don't know who you are, you're going to be pushed around in any direction the crowd is going. You have to have a backbone. You have to have a backbone. You have to have integrity. You have to know who you are living on planet Earth. That is one of the best things you can do for yourself. Having a backbone, having your own character, being of integrity, and standing for something that's actually in alignment with the truth of who you are. Right? This isn't saying be stubborn. No, you have to learn and grow and evolve. That is also an important part of life. To learn, grow, evolve. When you have new information, when you learn something new, again, that quote by Maya Angelou, when you know better, do better. Yes. Fundamental, right? That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying here, yes, we know better, do better, of course, but I'm kind of mixing things up. What I'm saying is this: you have to have a foundation of you knowing who you are. Now let's look at the first key factor that really affects your self-confidence, and this is, let's say, right, everything begins with awareness. Because if you're unaware, you don't really know what's what, right? If you don't have awareness, you cannot know exactly what's in front of you, or what's really going on, or what's really happening within you. Everything begins with awareness. So I'm going to say this: the first key factor, again, not in any particular order, but this was coming through now. Self-awareness. You have to spend time with you. You have to be present with you. You have to get to know yourself, get to know your being. I will say self and being, because you are a being, you are energy, right? You are soul, you are a spirit. When I say spirit, I mean energy source within you before you are flesh. You are a being before you are a person. So when I say self and being, that's what I mean. Recognizing essence within you beyond the physical flesh. But you have to have a deep level of awareness of yourself and of your being. And how do you achieve this? You have to spend time with you, get to know yourself. What actually sparks your life? What do you enjoy? What do you love? Right? What do you not like? Why? What do you not enjoy? What's actually in alignment with you? You have to spend time getting to know yourself. And this doesn't end. This is infinite in regards to your human experience. As long as you're alive, there are always new levels to get to. There are always new level of awareness to achieve. There are always new levels of awareness you can actually upgrade to. You have to continuously, constantly know, but again, be aware of who you are. I'm getting to the second point, that's self-knowing. But let's focus on self-awareness. You have to be able to spend time with you and silence out the noise. You have to be aware of who you are. You have to tune into your intuition, tune into your inner voice, tune into your inner guidance. You have to let your inner guidance guide you and lead you. You are meant to be your own leader. You are meant to be your own leader. No one should lead you but your inner voice. What I mean by this: you are meant to lead yourself. No one else should be able to lead you beyond your inner voice. Yes, you can take, you can take guidance, you can take information, you can take advice, but fundamentally, no one external to you on planet Earth should surpass your own inner voice, your own intuition, your own inner guidance. You have to cultivate such a deep level of awareness of you that you actually know who you are on a deeper level, and you actually adhere to and listen to and follow your own inner guidance. Self-awareness is important. You have to be aware of you. Be aware of you, the truth of you, who you are. which leads you to self-knowing. This is the second key factor of self-confidence. Because when you know, let's focus on awareness first. When you're aware of you cultivate trust. You build more trust because now you know who you are. You know what you like, what you don't like, right? You have the awareness, and this actually solidifies and strengthens the trust you have in you, which makes you more confident in you. That's the correlation there. That's self-knowing, second key factor. I'm sure you've heard the saying, know thyself, right? You have to know who you are. You're aware of who you are, and then it leads you to knowing who you are. Self-knowing, knowledge of your being, knowledge of yourself. You have to know who you are. If you do one thing in this life, you have to spend time. One thing that's going to actually act as a catalyst to affect every other level of your life is knowing who you are. Again, back to what I was saying before at the beginning, you got to have some character. You got to have integrity. You got to have a backbone. You got to know who you are. You have to learn about yourself. Learn about yourself. Study yourself. Learn. Become a student of you. Become a student and observer of you, and take notes. And don't just take notes. Actually practice, right? What's actually in alignment with you. Let it be your lifestyle. You gotta have a strong level of self-knowing, because when you know who you are, no one else can tell you who you are. When you know who you are, no one can tell you who you are, because you know who you are. Correlation point one, right? Key factor point one, you have an awareness of who you are, therefore no one can tell you who you are, because you know who you are. And self-knowing, again, it's continuous, it's infinite. You gotta keep knowing who you are, but fundamentally, you gotta know your foundation, your values. What are your values? That's a key component of self-knowing. What are your values? What do you stand for? What do you think is the meaning of life? What are your key values in regards to life and your human experience? That's going to tell you in regards to knowing who you are. You got to know your values. You got to have integrity. You got to know your values. You got to be in alignment with your values. That's what it means to know who you are. You got to know fundamentally who you are at your core and what you stand for, and you got to align with this. And when you know who you are, you're going to be confident, because you know who you are and you can stand on a solid foundation. Number three, this again, not in a particular order, I keep reiterating that because that's important. The third key factor of true self-confidence is self-love. You gotta love, and self-love, loving yourself, loving your being. You gotta love every facet of you, holistically, meaning the whole component, mind, heart, body, soul. You gotta love you. You gotta love yourself. Right? Self-love for some people is not very easy. Again, and for others it is easy. Like for me, it's very easy. Obviously, I've gone through things in life, but here's the thing: I love who I am fundamentally, because no one is me. I'm literally the only one of me on this planet, and that is important. Right? I am who I am. I am who I am for a reason. Right? Every part of me makes me who I am. Every atom, every facet, every part of me makes me who I am. No one is you. No one has your specific DNA, your specific point of view, your specific you at your core, your soul. Right? No one is you. No one is you. Literally, you are one of one. You gotta love who you are. Don't take it for granted. And if you aren't quite happy with how you are being, then you gotta work on yourself. But even while working on yourself, you gotta have a stronger level of self-love. You gotta love who you are holistically, mind, heart, body, soul. Love your body, right? And when you love yourself, you will take better care of yourself. When you love yourself, you would self-love. Without self-care doesn't work. If you love yourself, you gotta take care of yourself. Take care of your mind. Right? What are you putting into your mind daily? Does this show your self-love? What are you actually engaging in daily? Does it show your self-love? You gotta put it into practice, practicality. When you love yourself, you gotta actually show that you love yourself based on how you are living, how you are being in your life in regards to you by yourself, you with others, how you interact with the world, how you interact with you. You gotta love yourself. You gotta cultivate a self-love that is so deep, nothing can taint it, nothing can destroy it. You gotta love you at your core. Again, now let's go to the next point of the key factor for self-confidence. Yes, I was going to say this right, because when you love who you are, that means, leading me to the next point, when you love who you are, it means you accept your authentic self, your authentic being. Self-love means that you actually accept yourself. If you don't really accept who you are, you cannot truly have self-love. You gotta have self-acceptance to truly love who you are. Next key point, next key factor, self-acceptance, right? Here's the thing. Having acceptance doesn't mean we should live into the next point, but let's focus on this one now. Having acceptance doesn't mean you become complacent. Like I said, when you know better, be better. When you know better, be better. When you know better, do better. Don't be complacent. When I say self-acceptance, I mean being able to accept every facet, every layer, every part of your light, your shadow, your in-between, right? Again, your shadows are meant to start with that you don't particularly like, but it's actually necessary for you to actually be a fully functioning human being. You have to learn how to balance your light and your shadow, because life is a balance, right? Be a balanced person. Accept every part of you, the in-between, right? Every part of you have to accept every part of you, because whenever you accept who you are truly, you can truly move forward and progress and just be more instead of flow, and you will let go of resistance, because when you accept things, it puts you instead of flow. You aren't resisting who you are because you accept who you are. You aren't fighting with who you are because you accept who you are. Again, you aren't being in back and forth because you accept who you are. You gotta accept who you are, and that will actually create more flow. That will give you more peace. Because imagine you say this, I accept who I am, and you actually live by this. Accept every part of you, no matter what it is, right? The good part, the ugly part. When I say ugly, I mean parts that you don't necessarily like, right? I want to show to the world. You gotta accept every part of you. It's what makes you a human being. But there is no such thing as perfect. There is not a perfect human being. You can ugly. When I say ugly, that doesn't mean right you're a bad person. There's a difference, right? You can have certain part of you that literally is just not the best, but it doesn't make you a bad person. It's just a part of your character. You gotta work on that and improve that, right? There's a difference between being sinister and just having parts of you that you want to work on and improve, right? Again, those who are actually sinister, right? I don't want to get into that, but obviously, where I'm not gonna say karma, because here's the thing, right? Some people say karma doesn't exist, but the universe knows what's going on. When I say universe, I mean literally the life cycle. Even if things don't affect you now, generations upon generations upon generations, you may not be able to experience it, but it will actually show itself. Things will come full cycle. It may take lifetimes, but things will come full cycle. That's how life works. Let's focus on you now. Look at self-acceptance. You gotta accept every part of you. It's what makes you a human being. It's what it means to having a fully, truly, again, let's say a complete human experience. Life has layers. Life has dimensions. You have layers. You are multidimensional. You have levels. You have layers. And when you can accept every level, every dimension, every facet of you, you will actually be confident. Because imagine someone was going to use any part of you against you, right? But you don't really care because you actually accept yourself as you are. What does that mean? You move with confidence. You don't really care, right? You accept your flaws. You accept your greatness. You accept every part of you. Or imagine there was a situation that would actually make you feel bad about yourself for some reason, but it doesn't, because you don't really give it power, because you accept who you are, right? You have greatness within you, right? You have things you need to work on within you. You have the in-between. When you accept every part of you, that will actually increase your self-confidence. Next point, I'm going to go to self-accountability. You know how I said self-love without self-care doesn't work? Similar thing. Self-confidence, right? Self-love without self-accountability is bullshit. It's BS. Because if you love yourself, you want to be better, you want to improve, right? You got to be accountable. Again, that word complacency. You don't want to be complacent. You are the one who spends the most time with you. This is what I mean. No one is in your head 24/7. You are in your head, meaning you are with you all the time. If anyone's gonna make sure you are accountable to you, it's gotta be you. You gotta never externalize your ability to be accountable to anyone else. Even if you need a little help sometimes, that's okay. But fundamentally, you gotta practice taking accountability on your own accord. You gotta be accountable to yourself, right? Watch how you're being, how you're living, your actions, your way of operating, right? The goals, dreams you have. Are you being accountable to you? Because when you can be accountable, when you can point what you're doing that isn't quite working or isn't quite right, and when you can point ways in which you can be better, when you know how to actually improve and work on yourself and just go about life in a better way, you build your self-confidence. Because why? You are actually taking charge of your own destiny. You are actually taking charge of your own actions, right? You're actually aware of ways in which you can be better and do better, ways in which you can improve. When you are accountable to you, when you take accountability for your wrongs, right, and right your wrongs, or just take accountability for your goals, the goals you want to achieve, things you want to achieve, when you take accountability for how you want your life to be, you will have confidence because you are taking the reins. You are wielding your power. You are taking charge of you and your life through accountability. You gotta be the first one to hold yourself accountable in the goals you have, right? The visions you have, dreams you have, how you've been, how you're living, the thoughts you're thinking, the emotions you're feeling, the actions you're taking in your life. When you can be accountable to yourself, that's going to increase your self-confidence because again, you are in charge. You are taking the driver's seat. You are learning, you are growing, right? You are taking charge, you are making things happen, you are being accountable, you're taking initiative. You're taking initiative, right? You're being the one in charge of your life and of you, and that will increase your self-confidence. Again, you tell yourself the truth. You hold yourself accountable. You don't bullshit yourself. You hold yourself accountable. And when you can hold yourself accountable, that's going to increase your self-confidence exponentially. You will see. Be accountable in your life and watch your self-confidence improve. Next key point. I think I may have forgot one. Let me look at my notes. So how? Self-knowing, self-love, self-awareness, self-acceptance. Yes, the last one, right? Was that 6? Let's go through it again. Self-awareness, self-knowing, self-love, self-acceptance, self-accountability. Last key point is going to be self-empowerment. Like I said before, you are the one who is literally with you 24/7 within the internal. You are with you. You are here. You have your own mind space, your own soul space, your own heart space. You are with you. So imagine that you empower yourself from the inside out. Imagine a voice in your head is one of empowerment and never disempowerment. You gotta be your own biggest cheerleader. You gotta be your own biggest supporter. You gotta be your own biggest trustee. You gotta have an inner voice that is empowering in truth, in clarity. You gotta empower yourself from the inside. You gotta make sure the voice in you is always lifting you up and never putting you down. Even when you've been accountable, you gotta do it from a place of empowerment. Empower yourself. Speak life into yourself, right? Be grateful for who you are. Be grateful for just being alive and being you. Be grateful that you have a mind, a heart, a soul of your own. You have these things of your own, and you have to keep your power within you. The only way your power can be externalized is if you externalize your power. You gotta have your power within you. But fundamentally, the voice in your head, how you speak to yourself, you gotta speak to yourself with, again, empowerment. You gotta empower yourself. What does empowerment mean to you? That's a question for you. What does empowerment mean to you? You gotta empower yourself daily, all the time. You gotta have words of encouragement for yourself, words of upliftment, and it's beyond words. It's now your actions. The actions you're taking have to be empowering in the way you're being and living. Again, there has to be a practical aspect of this. Yes, you can say all these great things to yourself, but how are you actually showing up in your life? How are you living? Is it a reflection of empowerment or disempowerment? You gotta align, again, your empowering thoughts with your empowering actions. You gotta be empowered. Don't wait for others things to empower you. You gotta empower yourself. When you are an empowered being, you will naturally be confident. You will walk with your head up high. You will be confident, right? You gotta know how to empower yourself from the inside out. The words you speak to yourself, the thoughts you think, the emotions you feel, the actions you take, the way you're living and being. The question for you is, it's empowering or disempowering? You know the truth. If it's not, now you got work to do. Again, you gotta take steps. You gotta, again, when you think certain thoughts or do certain things or feel certain emotions, how's it making you feel? Are you feeling empowered or are you feeling disempowered, right? Is it an empowering step or disempowering step? You gotta know what's empowering, what's disempowering. And you gotta take accountability, responsibility for being the one who actually empowers you. Be your biggest supporter. Be the one who loves you the most. You gotta empower yourself so much that you become literally as solid as solid can get. You gotta be as solid can get. You gotta empower you from the inside out, and this manifests in how you live your life. Those are the key factors from my perspective, right? in regards to what actually creates and secures true self-confidence. One more time, let's go through the list. Self-awareness, self-knowing, self-love, self-acceptance, self-accountability, self-empowerment. I hope this message helped you in some way, shape, or form in your life. Thanks for watching.